Act 1. The Meet. The night air along Dubai. Marina carried the scent of salt water and expensive perfume. Khalid Al-Rashid adjusted his cufflinks as he stepped out of the Atlantis Hotel, his mind still replaying the boring speeches from the tech gala he'd just endured. Another night of people pretending to care about innovation while really just wanting access to his bank account. He didn't notice the motorcycle until it was almost too late. The engine roared to life from a darkened corner of the parking area. Khalid's instincts, honed from growing up in a world where wealth made you a target, screamed danger. He turned just as the rider pulled a weapon. Then, the world exploded into motion. A woman appeared from nowhere, her body slamming into his with surprising force. They crashed behind a black SUV as gunfire cracked through the air, bullets sparking off metal and concrete. Khalid's ears rang, his heart hammering against his ribs. The woman was already moving. In one fluid motion, she drew a gun from beneath her jacket and returned fire with calm precision. 3 shots. The motorcycle's tire exploded, sending the rider sprawling across the pavement. She was on her feet instantly, weapon trained on the fallen assassin. "Stay down," she commanded, her voice carrying a slight British accent wrapped around something else, Caribbean maybe. She moved like liquid shadow, clearing the threat with professional efficiency that made his expensive security team look like children playing dress-up. By the time hotel security came running, the would-be killer was unconscious and zip-tied, and the mysterious woman was gone. Vanished into the crowd of panicked gala attendees like smoke. Khalid stood slowly, his expensive suit torn at the knee, his mind racing. In 32 years of life, surrounded by bodyguards and security systems, no one had ever protected him like that. She hadn't hesitated, hadn't asked for permission or payment. She'd just saved his life and disappeared. He touched his jacket where her hands had gripped him, pushing him to safety. His head of security was shouting questions. Police were arriving, but Khalid was scanning the crowd, searching for a woman with dark skin, athletic build, and eyes that had assessed the threat before he'd even processed the danger. "Find her," he told his security chief. "I don't care what it costs." 3 days later, Khalid sat in his office on the 45th floor of the Al-Rashid Tower, only half listening as his head of security presented options for additional protection. "The police believe the attack was related to your defense contracts," Marcus was saying. "Until they identify who ordered it, I recommend 24/7 close protection. I've reviewed the best candidates, and there's one operative who stands out." Khalid waved his hand dismissively. "Fine. Whatever you think is..." The door opened. She walked in wearing tactical black pants and a fitted shirt, her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. The same woman who'd tackled him to safety. The same woman who'd haunted his thoughts for 3 days. Their eyes met, and he saw the exact moment she recognized him. Her professional mask slipped for just a second, revealing surprise, maybe annoyance, before she recovered. "Mr. Al-Rashid," Marcus said, oblivious to the electric tension crackling through the room. "This is Sierra Blake, former British Special Forces, top marks in close protection, tactical response, and threat assessment. She's the best." Sierra extended her hand, her grip firm when Khalid took it. "Mr. Al-Rashid, good to meet you officially." Her hand was warm, calloused. He held it a moment longer than necessary, watching her eyes narrow slightly. "You saved my life 3 nights ago," Khalid said, releasing her hand, then vanished. "Now you work for me. Interesting timing." "I don't work for anyone, Mr. Al-Rashid," Sierra replied coolly. "I work with clients who follow my security protocols. The question is, can you follow orders?" Marcus coughed awkwardly. No one spoke to Khalid Al-Rashid like that. Khalid found himself suppressing a smile. "That depends on the orders," he said. "Marcus, give us the room." His security chief hesitated, then left, closing the door behind him. Sierra remained standing, her posture relaxed but ready. A soldier's stance. Khalid circled his desk, studying her. "Why did you disappear that night?" "I had somewhere else to be." "Doing what?" "That's not relevant to this conversation." She pulled out a tablet. "All business. If you want my services, we need to establish ground rules. No going anywhere without advance notice. No dismissing me from secured areas. No..." "Move into my penthouse," Khalid interrupted. Sierra's professional mask cracked again. "Excuse me?" "24-hour protection, you said. My home is more secure than any hotel. I'll triple your usual rate." He watched her carefully. "Unless you have a reason to refuse?" Something flickered in her dark eyes. Calculation, conflict. She was deciding something. Whatever her real reason for being here, it wasn't just about his money. "Fine," she said finally, "but I choose my own room location and security setup. And Mr. Al-Rashid, if you make this difficult, I will walk away. Understood?" "Khalid," he said, "if you're going to live in my home, use my name." She didn't agree, just pulled up a floor plan on her tablet. But when she bent over his desk to review the layout, Khalid caught the faintest scent of vanilla and gunpowder and remembered exactly how it felt when her body had covered his, protecting him from bullets. This was either the best decision he'd ever made or the most dangerous. Sierra stood in the bedroom Khalid had designated as hers in his penthouse, doing a security sweep with practiced efficiency. The space was minimalist luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Dubai, smart home controls for everything from the lights to the temperature, a bed that probably cost more than her childhood home. She'd positioned herself between his master suite and the main entrance. Perfect for protection, also perfect for surveillance. Because Sierra Blake wasn't really Sierra Blake, at least not entirely. Her real assignment, courtesy of MI5, was to get close to Khalid Al-Rashid and determine if his company was developing illegal weapons technology. The assassination attempt had been convenient timing. Her real mission started now. She was running signal detection software when she found the first breach. Someone had hacked into Khalid's personal server, not the corporate one, his private system. The intrusion was elegant, professional. Curious, she followed the digital trail and felt her stomach tighten. The hacker had compiled a dossier on her, military service record, the fabricated story of her dismissal from MI5, even her family in London, her grandmother's address, her younger brother's school. Someone had researched her thoroughly and sent it to Khalid an hour before she'd arrived at his office. Someone knew she was coming. Sierra's training kicked in. She copied the file, traced the source. It came from inside Al-Rashid Industries. Then she went to find Khalid. He was in his study, reviewing contracts on 3 different screens simultaneously. When she entered without knocking, he looked up, unsurprised. "Someone sent you a file about me," she said without preamble. "Before we met today." "Who?" Khalid leaned back in his chair, studying her with those dark, intelligent eyes. "So you've been snooping. Fast work." "It's my job to know about security breaches. That file didn't come from your security team. Who sent it?" "I don't know," he said, and she believed him. "It appeared on my private server with an untraceable origin. The message said, 'Your new bodyguard has secrets. Don't trust her.'" Sierra's mind raced through possibilities. Her cover should have been airtight, unless, "You've made powerful enemies," she said carefully. "Maybe someone wants to separate you from competent protection." "Maybe." Khalid stood, moving around the desk. He was tall, lean, moved with the confidence of someone who'd never doubted his place in the world. Until now, she realized. The assassination attempt had shaken him more than he let on. "Or maybe you do have secrets. Why did you really disappear after saving my life?" "I'm a private person." "You're a mystery." He stopped in front of her, close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. "The file said you were discharged from MI5 for insubordination, that you don't play well with authority. Why should I trust you?" "Because 3 nights ago, I chose to save your life when I could have walked away." She held his gaze. "And right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and whoever wants you dead." The silence stretched between them, charged with something Sierra couldn't afford to acknowledge. Finally, Khalid smiled, not his. Public smile, but something genuine and slightly dangerous. "Fair enough. But Sierra, I'm very good at discovering secrets. It's how I built my company." He moved past her, pausing at the door. "Also, I took the liberty of ordering your preferred coffee. Jamaican Blue Mountain, black, no sugar. It'll be here in the morning." After he left, Sierra stood frozen. How did he know her coffee preference? She'd never mentioned it, which meant he'd been researching her too, finding details beyond the fabricated MI5 file. She returned to her room and sent an encrypted message to her handler. Cover may be compromised. Target is more observant than briefed. Proceeding with caution, the response came back quickly. Mission is critical. Get close to him, whatever it takes. Sierra looked out at the glittering Dubai skyline and wondered, not for the first time, if she'd underestimated Khalid Al-Rashid, and whether that would get one or both of them killed. Act 2. The Pursuit. The first week fell into a rhythm that felt almost normal if you ignored the constant undercurrent of tension. By day, Sierra was the perfect bodyguard. She accompanied Khalid to board meetings where men in expensive suits tried to intimidate each other with market projections. She stood outside exclusive restaurants while he wined and dined investors. She cleared rooms before he entered and positioned herself between him and potential threats with practiced precision. He tested her constantly. "What if we take a different route today?" he'd ask casually. "I've already planned 3 alternate routes, ranked by security level and traffic patterns," she'd reply. "What if I wanted to stop at that cafe? I've assessed it. 2 exits, good sight lines, but too close to street level. Your next meeting is in 30 minutes. Not enough time." He'd smile, that dangerous smile that meant he was enjoying himself. "You're very good at saying no. I'm very good at keeping you alive. There's a difference." But after hours, things got complicated. Khalid started inviting her to dinner. To discuss security protocols, he'd say, though they both knew it was something else. Sierra told herself it was good for her mission, gathering intelligence, but the truth was harder to ignore. She liked talking to him. He was sharp, funny in a dry way that caught her off guard. He'd ask her opinion on things that had nothing to do with security, art, music, politics. He listened when she answered, really listened, like her thoughts mattered. The text messages started around day 5. Khalid: "The board meeting tomorrow will be incredibly boring. Should I increase your hazard pay?" Sierra: "Boredom isn't a security threat. I'll survive." Khalid: "What if I told you there would be Swedish death metal playing? Would that classify as a threat?" Sierra: "Depends. Is the music voluntary or tactical?" Khalid: "I'll let you interpret that however keeps you most alert." Late-night messages became their routine. Philosophy, debate, carefully dancing around personal topics while revealing more than either intended. Sierra: "Question: Do you think trust can exist between 2 people who both keep secrets?" Khalid: "Interesting. Are you asking professionally or personally?" Sierra: "Just asking." Khalid: "Then I think trust isn't about having no secrets. It's about believing the secrets someone keeps aren't meant to hurt you. Why do you ask?" Sierra: "Just thinking about the nature of protection. Good night, Khalid." Khalid: "Good night, Sierra. Sleep with your door locked. I'm not convinced I'm the only one with secrets worth protecting." She'd stared at that message for 10 minutes before finally going to sleep. The tension broke during a dinner with Khalid's business partners at an exclusive Dubai restaurant. Sierra stood at the perimeter, watching, when she noticed one of the men, an American investor named Richard, staring at her with the kind of look that made her skin crawl. "Your bodyguard's quite the decoration," Richard said to Khalid, loud enough for her to hear. "Do all your security personnel come with such appealing qualifications?" The table went silent. Sierra remained expressionless, professional. She'd heard worse, but Khalid's response was immediate and cutting. "Richard," his voice dropped 20 degrees. "Sierra Blake is former British Special Forces with more combat experience than everyone at this table combined. She's also the reason I'm alive to have this dinner. If you can't show respect, there's the door." Richard's face flushed red. "I didn't mean..." "Yes, you did. Apologize or leave." The silence stretched. Finally, Richard muttered an apology and excused himself entirely, leaving his meal unfinished. The other investors shifted uncomfortably. Sierra kept her face neutral, but something warm and dangerous unfurled in her chest. Khalid had defended her without hesitation, risking a business deal to do it. Later, in the car back to the penthouse, she broke protocol. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." He wasn't looking at her, staring out at the city lights instead. "People like Richard think money entitles them to disrespect. It doesn't. He's worth $3 billion. That deal could have..." "I don't care." Now he turned, and the intensity in his eyes stopped her breath. Some things matter more than money, Sierra. I thought you'd understand that. She did. That was the problem. On Friday, Khalid announced they were leaving the city. I have a private estate outside Dubai, he explained as they drove through sprawling desert in his Bugatti. More secure than the penthouse. We'll spend the weekend. Sierra wanted to argue. She hadn't vetted the location, hadn't planned the security, but part of her was curious. Khalid away from his empire, outside the glass towers and boardrooms. Who was he when no one was watching? The villa appeared like a mirage, glass and stone rising from golden sand, somehow both modern and timeless. Solar panels glinted in the sun. The architecture flowed organically, as if it had grown from the desert itself. You designed this, Sierra said, not a question. How did you know? It's brilliant. Also slightly showing off, she studied the security systems, noting the sophisticated setup. You built this as a fortress. I built it as a home. He pulled into the private garage. There's a difference. That evening, after she'd done a complete security sweep and grudgingly admitted the place was well protected, Khalid found her on the terrace. Want to go for a drive? We just drove 2 hours. Not like this. He dangled car keys. Ever driven a Bugatti through the desert at sunset? She shouldn't. Every protocol said stay alert, maintain professional distance, don't let your guard down. But the sun was melting into the horizon, painting everything gold and amber, and Khalid was looking at her with something like hope. Show me how, she said. He taught her the basics, throttle control, how to read the sand, when to accelerate through difficult patches. Then he sat in the passenger seat and let her drive. Sierra opened the throttle and the world became speed and light. The Bugatti flew across the dunes, and for the first time in months she felt free. No mission, no lies, just this moment, this machine, this impossible sunset. She laughed, genuine, surprised laughter, and caught Khalid watching her with an expression she couldn't name. When she finally stopped, the sun had dropped below the horizon, leaving them in blue twilight. Neither moved to leave the car. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For this, for... She gestured vaguely. You don't treat me like an employee or a decoration. You treat me like you're real. He turned to face her. Sierra, you're the most real thing in my manufactured world. Do you know how rare that is? The air in the car suddenly felt too thin. Sierra forced herself to look away to break the spell. We should go back, she managed, before dark makes the terrain too dangerous. He didn't argue, but the drive back was charged with unspoken words. That night, unable to sleep, Sierra found him on the rooftop terrace. The stars were impossible, millions of them, so bright it hurt. Can't sleep either? Khalid asked, not looking away from the sky. Thinking about my grandmother. The words came out before she could stop them. She lives in Kingston, raised me after my parents died. She'd love these stars. Tell me about her. So Sierra did. About the tiny house with bright paint and bougainvillea, about her grandmother's laugh and her strict rules, and how she'd taught Sierra that being strong didn't mean being hard, about her younger brother who wanted to be an engineer. In return, Khalid told her about his mother, who died when he was 12 in a terrorist attack on a Riyadh hotel. How building his empire had been about proving he wasn't just his father's shadow, that he could create something meaningful. I wanted to make the world safer, he said quietly. Thought if I was powerful enough, rich enough, I could protect the people I loved from what happened to her. Turns out you can't buy safety. No, Sierra agreed, but you can find people who'll stand between you and danger anyway. Not for money. Just because. He turned to her then, and the space between them crackled with electricity. He leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to stop this. She turned her head at the last second. His lips brushed her cheek instead. I can't, she whispered. If I'm compromised, I can't protect you. What if I don't want you to protect me anymore? His voice was rough. What if I just want you? Sierra stood, putting distance between them before she did something catastrophic. Good night, Khalid. She left him under the impossible stars, her heart hammering, knowing they'd both crossed a line they couldn't uncross. It was 2 a.m. when Sierra noticed the anomaly. She was monitoring the security feeds, a habit from years of training, when an encrypted message appeared on Khalid's private server. the one she'd been trying to hack since arriving. Her pulse quickened. This was it, the break she needed for her mission. She crept to his study, careful to avoid the cameras she'd already mapped. The encryption was sophisticated, but she'd cracked better. She was deep in the system, downloading files labeled Project Jana when someone spoke behind her. "You could have just asked." Sierra spun, hand going to her weapon before she recognized Khalid. He stood in the doorway, shirtless, wearing only sleep pants, looking more dangerous than she had ever seen him. "Khalid, Save it." He crossed the room and she tensed, ready for confrontation, but he simply reached past her and unlocked a file. Project Jana. This is what they want to steal. The screen filled with blueprints, but not weapons, humanitarian AI, disaster response systems, medical diagnostic tools, technology designed to save lives, not take them. This is what someone tried to kill you for? Sierra scrolled through the documents, genuine surprise breaking through her training. This is what they think they'll get if they eliminate me. They don't understand the real threat. He opened another folder, but Sierra noticed several files he deliberately skipped. Whatever the full truth was, he wasn't sharing it yet. "Why show me this?" she asked. "Because I'm tired of everyone assuming the worst." He finally looked at her, and his expression was exhausted. "You thought I was building weapons. Everyone does. They see defense contracts and assume evil. But I've been trying to do something good. Does that really sound so impossible?" Guilt twisted in Sierra's stomach, sharp, unexpected. "Khalid, you were looking for proof I'm a monster. Instead, you found proof I'm just a man trying not to become one. Disappointing? She should report this, should contact MI5 immediately." But standing in his study at 2 a.m., seeing the vulnerability in his eyes, she made a choice that went against every order she'd been given. "No," she said quietly. "Not disappointing. Complicated." He studied her for a long moment. "You're not going to report me, are you? Whatever you are, whoever sent you, you're not going to turn me in." "How long have you known?" "Since before you walked into my office. My security system flagged your cover within hours. Sierra Blake exists, but her history has convenient gaps. The MI5 discharge was too perfect, too scandalous. Someone built you a legend." Sierra's training screamed at her to deny, deflect, escape, but she was so tired of lying. "Then why did you hire me?" "Because when someone sends an intelligence agent to investigate you, it means you're onto something that scares powerful people. I wanted to know what they were looking for. And," he smiled without humor, "I wanted to see if you'd choose the mission or the truth. I haven't decided yet." "I know. That's what makes you interesting." He turned to leave, then paused. "For what it's worth, Sierra, whoever you really are, the woman who saved my life, who laughs when she drives too fast, who talks about her grandmother with that expression, she's real. I'd bet my life on it." After he left, Sierra sat in the darkened study, staring at the encrypted files. She should feel victorious. She'd gained unprecedented access. Instead, she felt like a traitor. She sent her handler a brief message. "Target's primary work appears humanitarian, requires further investigation." The response was immediate and cold. "Don't be naive. Find the weapons development. That's an order." Sierra deleted the conversation and went back to her room. Through the walls, she could hear Khalid moving in his suite. Neither of them would sleep tonight. Outside, Dubai's lights glittered like 1,000 secrets, and Sierra realized she'd made a terrible mistake. Not in her mission, but in forgetting that the target of investigation was also just a man who wanted someone to believe in him, and she was starting to. Act 3. The complication. 3 weeks into the assignment, Khalid announced a business trip to London. Sierra's handler practically vibrated with excitement, a chance for face-to-face debriefing, access to MI5 resources. But first, there was her family. "You're visiting them," Khalid said when she mentioned her grandmother lived in London. Not a question. "It's not necessary. I can..." "Sierra." He looked up from his laptop on the private jet. "When's the last time you saw them?" 8 months. Too long. The mission had consumed everything. "Then we're going. Give me the address." She should have refused, should have kept her world separate, but the thought of seeing her grandmother, her brother Samuel, made her heart ache with homesickness she'd buried deep. The house in Brixton looked exactly the same, Bright blue paint, red door, her grandmother's garden exploding with flowers despite the English autumn. Sierra felt tears prick her eyes before she'd even knocked. The door flew open. Her grandmother, 72 and unstoppable, pulled her into a hug that smelled like cocoa butter and home. "Child, where have you been?" Then her grandmother saw Khalid, still standing by the car, and her eyes went sharp with interest. "And who is this?" "My client, Granny, Khalid Al-Rashid." "Your client?" Her grandmother's tone suggested she saw right through that lie. "Well, Mr. Al-Rashid, are you going to stand on the street or are you coming in for dinner?" Khalid looked at Sierra, clearly asking permission. She sighed. "Come in. But I'm warning you, my family doesn't do quiet." That was an understatement. Within an hour, Khalid was sitting at the cramped kitchen table, Samuel explaining his engineering projects with teenage enthusiasm, her grandmother grilling him about his intentions with questions that made Sierra want to melt through the floor. "So you hired my granddaughter as a bodyguard?" her grandmother asked, passing him jerk chicken that could strip paint. "I did. She saved my life." "Did she now?" Her grandmother glanced at Sierra with knowing eyes. "And how are you treating her?" "Granny? Like she's irreplaceable," Khalid said simply. "Because she is." The table went quiet. Samuel grinned. Her grandmother nodded slowly, satisfied. After dinner, while Khalid helped Samuel with some technical problem, Sierra's grandmother pulled her aside. "That man loves you, child. Granny, it's not... Don't granny me. I've been watching people for 70 years. I know what love looks like, even when the people feeling it don't." She cupped Sierra's face. "Whatever walls you've built around your heart, they won't hold. Not against that. It's complicated. Love usually is. Question is, are you brave enough for it?" Sierra didn't have an answer. Later, in the car back to their hotel, Khalid was quiet, thoughtful. "Your family's wonderful," he said finally. "They liked you. Granny never lets just anyone help with dishes." "Samuel's brilliant. He'll be an amazing engineer." He looked out at London's lights. "Thank you for sharing them with me. Thank you for wanting to meet them. Most clients wouldn't." "I'm not most clients." He turned to her, and the intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. "I stopped thinking of you as an employee weeks ago, Sierra. You know that." She did. That was the problem. Back at the hotel, a luxury suite overlooking the Thames, Sierra found a message from her handler waiting. "Meet tomorrow, 0900. Come alone." The meeting was brutal. 3 weeks and all we have are humanitarian AI files? Her handler, a cold woman named Patricia, was furious. "We know he's developing weapons. Find them." "What if we're wrong? What if he has contracts with Gulf Defense Ministries? His cousin is a known arms dealer. The weapons exist." Patricia leaned forward. "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to seduce him, get full access to his systems. Whatever it takes, you have 72 hours. Sierra's stomach turned. That's an order. Or do you want to explain to the tribunal why you failed a critical intelligence operation?" After the meeting, Sierra walked along the Thames for hours, rain soaking through her jacket. When she finally returned to the suite, Khalid was on the balcony with a bottle of whiskey, staring at the rain. "Bad meeting?" he asked without looking at her. "How did you've been crying. Your mascara's smudged." He poured a second glass, held it out. "Want to talk about it?" She shouldn't. Every protocol said maintain distance, but something broke inside her, the weight of weeks of lying, of caring for someone she was supposed to betray. She took the glass, drank, let the burn ground her. "I'm tired," she said quietly. "Tired of everyone wanting something from me, tired of being a tool." "I know that feeling." He was drunk, she realized, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. "Everyone wants something. My company, my money, my influence, my name. You know what you are, Sierra. You're the first person who just wants me to stay alive. That's it. That's the most honest thing anyone's ever given me." The irony nearly broke her. She was the biggest liar of all. Maybe that's why she crossed the space between them, why she took his face in her hands, why she kissed him. He froze for a heartbeat, then kissed her back, desperate, hungry, real. They stumbled inside, rain-soaked and reckless, pulling at clothes, at defenses, at the walls they'd built. Making love to Khalid wasn't tactical. It wasn't part of the mission. It was honest in a way Sierra had forgotten she could be. Raw and vulnerable and terrifying. Afterward, tangled in expensive sheets, rain streaking the windows, Khalid traced the scar on her shoulder, the one from Kabul, from the mission that had gone wrong. "Who hurt you?" he asked quietly. So she told him. About the operation to extract an asset, about her partner Marcus who died covering her escape, about the guilt she'd carried for 3 years, the weight of surviving when he hadn't. Khalid held her like she was precious, like her scars were proof of strength, not weakness. "You didn't fail him," he whispered. "You survived. That's not a sin." Sierra wanted to believe him, wanted to believe she deserved this moment, this man, this feeling of being seen completely. But she knew the truth. Tomorrow she'd have to betray him. Her orders were clear. She fell asleep in his arms, hating herself more than she'd ever hated anything. Back in Dubai 2 days later, everything felt different. Khalid was more open, more affectionate. He'd take her hand while reviewing contracts, kiss her forehead while she did security checks. Small intimacies that felt like promises. Sierra was dying inside. Then Khalid did something unexpected. He granted her access to his private lab, the one she'd been explicitly told was off limits. "You should see what I'm really building," he said, leading her through biometric security into a space that looked like science fiction. Project Jana, the full version. What Sierra saw took her breath away. The humanitarian AI was real, but it was bigger than she'd imagined. A complete defense system designed to prevent attacks on Gulf infrastructure. It could predict threats, coordinate emergency response, save thousands of lives. It was brilliant, protective, everything Khalid had claimed. "This is what they want to steal," he explained, pulling up holographic displays. "Why someone wants me dead." Sierra moved through the lab, examining the technology with genuine awe. Then she saw a name in the project files, Samir Al-Rashid. Her blood went cold. She'd been briefed on Samir, Khalid's cousin, suspected weapons dealer, flagged by international intelligence. "Khalid," she kept her voice neutral. "Samir's involved in this?" His expression shuddered immediately. "Family's complicated." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give." He turned away, but she saw his hands shake slightly. Fear. He was afraid of something. "If Samir's connected to your work, I need to know. It's my job to." "Some things aren't about your job, Sierra." His voice was sharp. "Drop it." She wanted to push, but the look in his eyes stopped her. Whatever was happening with Samir, it terrified Khalid, and he didn't trust her enough to explain. That evening, Samir arrived at the penthouse unannounced. He was handsome in a cruel way. Sharp features, expensive suit, dead eyes that lingered on Sierra with predatory interest. "Cousin," he greeted Khalid with false warmth, "I heard you've upgraded your security. She's quite striking." Khalid's whole body language changed, deferential, almost submissive. Sierra had never seen him like this. "Samir, this is Sierra Blake, my head of security." Security. Samir switched to Arabic, not knowing Sierra spoke it fluently. "Be careful you don't get too attached to your possessions, Khalid. They have a way of disappearing." The threat was clear. Sierra remained expressionless, playing the role of someone who didn't understand, but her mind was racing. After Samir left, Khalid was cold, distant. He retreated to his study without a word, shutting her out completely. Sierra made a decision. She'd dig deeper into Samir's connection to Khalid's work, even if it meant destroying what they'd built, because something was very wrong. And if Khalid wouldn't tell her the truth, she'd find it herself, even if it broke both their hearts in the process. Act 4. The Crisis. At 3 a.m., Khalid left the penthouse alone. Sierra woke instantly, trained to sleep light, and checked the security feed. He'd disabled the tracking on his phone, taken a car from the private garage, and driven into the desert. Every instinct screamed danger. She followed him, using skills honed from years of surveillance work. He drove for an hour into empty desert, finally stopping at a facility that didn't appear on any of his corporate records. Sierra approached on foot, using the darkness and terrain as cover. The building was small but heavily secured, military-grade systems. Whatever was inside, Khalid wanted it hidden. She breached the perimeter using techniques MI5 would have questions about later, slipped past cameras and motion sensors, made her way into the main lab. What she found stopped her cold. An AI weapon system, fully operational, autonomous drones, cyber weapons capable of taking down entire city power grids, technology that could kill thousands with the press of a button. This was what MI5 suspected. This was why she'd been sent. But it didn't make sense. The humanitarian work was real. Why would Khalid? She accessed the security footage archives, searching for answers, found video from weeks before she'd arrived, Khalid and Samir arguing violently. Sierra activated the audio. "Gone too far," Khalid's voice desperate. "I built this to protect us, not destroy others. I won't let you sell it to the highest bidder." "You're naive, cousin." Samir's voice was cold. "This technology is worth billions. You'll cooperate or I'll activate it myself. Your biometric locks won't stop me forever." "You don't understand what this could do." "I understand power, something you've always been too weak to grasp." The footage ended. Sierra stood frozen, her entire understanding shattering. "You weren't supposed to see this." She spun. Khalid stood in the doorway, not angry, but devastated. "How long have you known I was here?" she asked. "Since you breached the outer perimeter, I have silent alarms you didn't detect." He entered slowly, hands visible, not approaching like a threat. "I knew you'd follow eventually. You're too good at your job not to." "Explain." Her voice came out harder than intended. "All of it. Now." Khalid looked at the weapon system with something like grief. 3 years ago, my mother's killer was caught. Turns out the attack that killed her was preventable. Intelligence agencies knew it was coming but couldn't respond fast enough. I was 23, angry, and brilliant enough to be dangerous. He touched one of the control panels. "I thought if I could create something that made us untouchable, something that could neutralize threats instantly, I could prevent another attack like the one that killed her." "You built this for revenge," Sierra said quietly. "I built it for protection. But by the time I realized what I'd actually created, something that could kill millions if misused, Samir had already stolen the core code." Khalid's laugh was bitter. "He's been blackmailing me for 2 years. Join him in selling it as a weapon, or he activates it. The assassination attempt wasn't random, Sierra. It was Samir's warning. Cooperate or die." Sierra's mind raced through implications. "Why not go to authorities?" "Because the code is tied to my biometrics. If I die, if my heart stops for more than 60 seconds, the system auto-launches against random targets. Samir made sure I'm trapped, and if governments knew what I'd built," he met her eyes, "I'd disappear into a black site. You know I would." She did. Intelligence agencies didn't forgive this kind of technology existing, regardless of intent. "You've been trying to stop him alone," she realized. "I've been trying to fix my mistake. The humanitarian AI? That was my attempt to counterbalance what I created, to build something good from something terrible." He stepped closer. "I'm not asking for forgiveness, Sierra. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking you to believe that I'm trying." Sierra's hand moved to her concealed weapon, not to draw it, just a reflexive check. She had to make a choice: report Khalid to MI5 and potentially trigger the weapon's launch, or trust the man she'd fallen for despite every instinct that told her not to. She lowered her hand from the weapon. "Then, we stopped Samir together." "You're MI5. It wasn't a question. They were back in the lab's observation deck, dawn breaking over endless sand outside. "Yes," Sierra admitted, "I was sent to investigate you for illegal weapons development." "And now?" "Now I know the truth is more complicated than my orders allowed for." She turned to face him. "Why didn't you destroy this? Why not just wipe everything?" "I told you, the biometric locks. If I try to delete the system completely, it interprets that as a security breach and activates. Samir built in failsafes I couldn't break." Khalid's expression was raw. "I've spent 2 years trying to dismantle this safely. Every solution I find, he's already blocked." Sierra's tactical mind was already working. "What if—" "Don't." His voice was sharp. "Don't sacrifice yourself for my mistakes. That's not a solution." "I wasn't going to suggest that." She pulled up the system architecture on her portable device. "But I need you to tell me everything. No more secrets. If we're doing this, we're doing it together. Khalid studied her for a long moment. You're throwing away your career, your life. For what? A man who built a weapon that could start a war? For the man who's been trying to stop one. Sierra held his gaze. There's a difference, Khalid. And I've spent 3 weeks investigating you. I know who you really are. Something broke in his expression. Relief, gratitude, disbelief, all mixed together. He closed the distance between them, pulled her close. I don't deserve you, he whispered. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. They stood there as the sun rose, two people who'd lied to each other now choosing brutal honesty. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing the fall would destroy them, but unable to step back. Back at the penthouse, reality crashed in. MI5 called. They'd intercepted intelligence. Samir was moving to activate the weapon within. 48 hours at a secure location. They wanted Khalid arrested immediately. We need to move on this. Patricia's voice was hard over the encrypted line. Bring him in, Blake. Now. I need more time to pinpoint the exact location, Sierra lied, watching Khalid through the office door. 24 hours, then we're sending a team, with or without your cooperation. After the call, Sierra sat in the darkness of her room, feeling the weight of impossible choices. Report Khalid, save her career, potentially doom thousands if the arrest triggered the weapon, or go rogue, become a traitor, and try to stop this with a man she'd been sent to destroy. There was a knock. Khalid entered without waiting for permission, 2 glasses and a bottle of whiskey in his hands. You're thinking too loud, he said, sitting beside her. I can hear it from my room. MI5 is moving on you. 24 hours. I heard. He poured 2 drinks. You should let them. You've done your job, found the weapons development, confirmed the threat. You can go home clean. Is that what you want? I want you safe. He handed her a glass. I want you to go back to your grandmother's house, eat jerk chicken, complain about your brother's engineering projects. I want you to have a life that doesn't include cleaning up my mistakes. Sierra drank, let the burn focus her thoughts. What if I said I don't want that anymore? Then I'd say you're as damaged as I am. His smile was sad. We're both trying to atone for things we can't fix, Sierra. Maybe that's why this felt inevitable. She leaned against him and he wrapped an arm around her shoulders. They sat in the dark, drinking whiskey, not speaking. Sometimes silence said more than words ever could. Later, when the bottle was empty and dawn was threatening, they made love again. Desperate this time, like drowning people grasping for air. Khalid whispered in Arabic against her skin, Anti Ruhi, you are my soul. Sierra held him tighter, memorizing every detail. Because she knew, they both knew, the next 48 hours would either save them or destroy them completely. When she woke hours later, Khalid was gone. A note remained on the pillow, written in his precise hand. I won't let you sacrifice yourself for my mistakes. If I don't come back, tell MI5 everything. Give them the lab locations, the access codes, all of it. You deserve to go home. Thank you for believing in me when no one else did. Sierra read it 3 times before her training kicked in. She accessed the security feeds, tracked his movements, cursed when she realized he'd taken a plane to Oman, to Samir, alone. She called her tactical team, not MI5, but private operators she'd worked with before, people who owed her their lives and didn't ask questions. I need immediate evac to Oman, she said, and bring weapons, lots of weapons. Because Khalid might have given up on himself, but Sierra hadn't. Some fights were worth becoming a traitor for. This was one of them. Act 5. The Resolution. Samir's compound sat in the Omani mountains like a crown, isolated, heavily fortified, nearly impossible to breach. Nearly. Sierra had assembled her team within 6 hours, 5 operators, all people she'd saved during her military career, all willing to go dark for her. They didn't ask why she was going rogue, they just came. Target is a tech facility masquerading as a private resort, she briefed during the flight. One primary objective, extract Khalid Al-Rashid alive. Secondary, disable or destroy the AI weapon system. Tertiary, neutralize Samir Al-Rashid, but only if necessary. Rules of engagement? Her second, a former SAS soldier named James, asked. Whatever's necessary to get Khalid out, but minimal casualties if possible. Most of the security are hired contractors who don't know what they're guarding. And if they resist? Sierra's expression went hard. Then they made their choice. They breached the compound at dusk, using the terrain and thermal imaging to avoid patrols. Sierra moved through the facility like a ghost, her team covering approach vectors with practiced precision. She found Khalid in the main lab, a space that looked like his Dubai facility but twisted, darker. He was at a control terminal, Samir standing behind him with a gun. Through her scope, Sierra assessed the situation. 3 other guards, all armed. The weapon system was active, countdown running. Khalid's fingers moved across the interface, but his body language screamed resistance. She signaled her team, synchronized assault on her mark. 1 breath, 2, go. The door exploded inward. Sierra's team moved with lethal efficiency. 3 guards down in seconds, non-lethal shots. Samir spun, weapon tracking, but Sierra was already there, gun aimed at his head. "It's over," she said calmly. "Weapon down, now." Samir's smile was venomous. He pressed his gun harder against Khalid's temple. The bodyguard. Khalid said you were resourceful." "Sierra, don't," Khalid started. "Quiet." Samir's voice cracked like a whip. "Here's what's going to happen. Your little soldiers are going to leave. You're going to put down your weapons, and Khalid is going to finish inputting the launch codes, or I paint this room with his brilliant mind." Sierra's team held position, weapons trained, waiting for her call. "You kill him, the system locks down," Sierra said. "His biometrics are required for activation. You need him alive." "True, but I only need him conscious. I wonder how many joints I can shatter before he cooperates." "Samir," Khalid's voice was steady despite the gun at his head. "You can't actually control this system. Even if I launch it, you don't have the override codes. It'll target randomly. You'll kill yourself along with everyone else. Then we all burn together." Samir's eyes were wild, a man past rational thought. "Better that than watching you play hero while I rot in your shadow." This was about more than money, Sierra realized. This was about jealousy, resentment, family hatred poisoned over years. "Khalid loved you," Sierra said quietly. "He told me stories, how you taught him to ride horses, helped him after his mother died. This isn't who you were. That weak boy is gone. Killed by watching Khalid inherit everything while I got nothing." Samir's finger tightened on the trigger. "Last chance. Leave or watch him die." Sierra lowered her weapon, her team tensed, waiting for orders. "Together," Khalid said, looking directly at her. The word meant something, a code between them. Sierra understood. "Samir," she met his eyes. "If you love your cousin at all, if there's any family left in you, let him save you." "Save me?" Samir laughed. "From what?" "From this." Khalid's hand moved, not toward the weapon controls, but to a hidden panel. "I spent 2 years building a kill switch into your kill switch, cousin. Something that requires both our biometrics to activate. I never thought I'd get close enough to use it." Samir's expression shifted, uncertainty cracking through the madness. "You're bluffing." "Test me." The standoff stretched. Sierra's finger rested on her trigger. 1 shot. She could take it, but Samir's finger was on his trigger too. At this range, even dying, he might still shoot Khalid. "Do it," Sierra said to Khalid. "Whatever it takes." Khalid pressed his palm to the scanner. "Your turn, Samir. Join me in destroying what we built or kill me and doom yourself. Choose." Samir's face contorted. Rage, fear, something like grief. His gun hand wavered. "I should have been the heir," he whispered. "It should have been me." "I know," Khalid said gently. "But it wasn't. And this won't fix it." For a moment, Sierra thought Samir might surrender. Then his grip tightened on the gun. Sierra moved. She tackled Samir sideways, the gun firing wild. Her team swarmed in, disarming him before he could recover. In the chaos, Khalid finished what he'd started, forcing Samir's hand to the biometric scanner. The system flashed red, then began counting down from 60 seconds. "That's the deletion cascade," Khalid gasped, blood streaming from a graze wound on his shoulder. Samir's wild shot had clipped him. "Everything goes, the weapon, the code, all backups, 60 seconds. "Can you stop it?" Sierra pressed her hand against his wound. "Why would I want to?" They ran. 3 months later, Sierra stood on her grandmother's porch in Kingston, watching Khalid attempt to make jerk chicken under careful supervision. "More pepper," her grandmother directed. "Don't be afraid of the heat." "I'm fairly certain this will kill me," Khalid said, but he was grinning. "Nonsense. Sierra eats this and she's fine. You'll survive." Sierra smiled, watching them together. The compound had collapsed, literally. Khalid's deletion cascade had worked perfectly, destroying every trace of the weapon technology. Samir was facing international tribunals, but Khalid had testified. On his behalf, asking for treatment rather than prison. The testimony had cost Khalid. His company had survived, but he'd stepped back from all defense contracts. He'd faced questioning from multiple intelligence agencies. But eventually, they'd let him go. The man who'd built a weapon and then destroyed it completely. Sierra had resigned from MI5 rather than face her own tribunal. She'd violated every order, gone rogue, potentially compromised national security. They'd wanted her head. But Khalid's lawyers were very good, and the evidence suggested she'd actually prevented a catastrophic weapon launch. Eventually, MI5 had accepted her resignation in exchange for silence. Now, she ran a private security consultancy, worked with companies that actually valued ethics over profit, and partnered with a certain reformed tech billionaire on humanitarian projects. "How am I doing?" Khalid called from the kitchen. "Terribly," her grandmother said cheerfully, "but you're learning." He appeared on the porch carrying a beer for Sierra, sat beside her on the steps. "Your family's wonderful," he said, not for the first time. "I know. Do you ever regret it? Giving up MI5 for..." He gestured vaguely. "This?" Sierra considered. "I spent years following orders, protecting people from a distance, never letting anyone close. Now I have you and I'm terrified constantly. Every decision feels impossible." She took his hand. "But I wouldn't trade it. This is real. Everything else was just playing it safe." "No more secrets," Khalid said, "even when the truth is hard." "No more running," Sierra agreed, "even when staying is terrifying." They'd learned that trust wasn't about never doubting. It was about choosing each other despite the doubts, about building something real from the ruins of what they'd both been before. "What's next for us?" Khalid asked. Sierra leaned against him, watching the sunset paint Kingston in gold. "Something real, something ours, and definitely something that doesn't involve weapons or assassination attempts. I can work with that." He kissed her, sweet and familiar. Inside, her grandmother called them for dinner. Loud voices, laughter, the chaos of family. They were both damaged, both still healing from the choices they'd made. But they were doing it together, choosing honesty over perfection, partnership over safety. It wasn't the ending Sierra had planned. It was better. Because love wasn't about finding someone who fixed you. It was about finding someone who saw your broken pieces and chose to stay anyway, building something new from the fragments. They walked inside together, hand in hand, and let the door close on their old lives. The future was uncertain, messy, and absolutely terrifying. It was also theirs, and that was enough.